I can't believe the synthesizer of it, it's massive. It's a profit, but now I've got one in my pocket. I can't believe the synthesizer of it, it's massive. It's a profit, but now I've got one in my pocket.
I'm starting to feel a little bit like an unpaid beta tester who even has to buy the product himself, but I've only got myself to blame, haven't I? Nobody's forcing me to do these videos. But since I did the Prophet VS Mini versus the Prophet VS, or the Pro VS Mini versus the Prophet VS, Behringer have brought out firmware version 1.1.1, so we've now got 2 extra voice modes. We've got modern, which I think is what it was originally, we've got modern bright, and we've got vintage. So in this video, I'm just going to take a look at those really quickly. I'm pressed for time, so this is going to be really short. In the other room, I've got this waiting for me that can't stay here forever. So I'm just going to do this really quickly so you can see what the differences are, what they've done, and how that compares to the original. Before I kick off with doing that, I thought I'd just take a look at the Paraphony versus Polyphony question. Is it paraphonic or polyphonic? I'd say it's paraphonic, but it depends on arguments people have about what is true polyphony or paraphony, so I might as well just show you what it does. I've got the Jupiter 6 controlling the Pro VS Mini, just means that I don't have to keep on changing the octaves to play up and down the keyboard. So we'll kick off straight away with polyphony and paraphony, like I said, so you can definitely get 4 notes at a time. Let's try something like adding an attack to the amp envelope, and you can hear there that they're all building in, each of those notes is building in. And let's drop that down then, shall we? So we build up and then we drop down, see if they build up and drop down independently. Yeah, so the amp is acting like you'd expect on a polyphonic synth. Let's just put all that back to 0 to stop confusing myself. Okay, let's go to the filter envelope, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting. It's not got 4 filters in it, it's only got 1. So if I do the same sort of thing here, keep on knocking this out of the way. Let's bring the sustain down, the cutoff down. So if I play different notes now at different times, they should all do that if it was true polyphonic. And they don't. They all follow note 1. So paraphonic or polyphonic, I would describe that as paraphonic, at least from the filter's perspective. So, interesting. If you want polyphonic, you're not getting it, but you are getting something that you can obviously do something quite creative with. Okay, this is a super simple patch. What I've done is I've created the initial patch, then I've mixed the voices. I don't know if this will show up on the camera, but to all A. So mix point 0, 99,000, mix point 1, 99,000. Same again for the other points as well. So first off, let's take a look at what these different modes do. So we're in function at the minute. We go to menu, press it again. So this is vintage mode. And you can see there's some crazy stepping on that wave shape. And if we play the Prophet, we're getting all those little steps in there, but it's nothing like this. This has taken it down to proper lo-fi grunginess, hasn't it? So it's done something different. It's not turned it into a Prophet VS. It's turned it into a lo-fi magic machine, hasn't it? So really taking lo-fi to heart. If we play the others, let's try those. So it's modern and modern bright. Let's play a bit higher up. Modern bright, vintage, modern, go even higher. Modern, modern bright, and vintage. So vintage isn't Prophet VS. It's its own thing. Much, much duller down at the low end, but on the high end, still a lot cleaner, I think, than the Prophet VS. And that's definitely got less aliasing, hasn't it? Try and find a tone with a bit more aliasing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that Wave Shape 96, because it had all sorts of weird goodness in it, didn't it? So let's go to Wave 96. If you watched my previous video, you might remember this one. And all that, it's meant to be a sine, but it's got all that weirdness on top. And then it's got all the weirdness on top as you go up there as well. So let's just try that on the Mini. Much cleaner. We're in modern bright there. Let's go to vintage. Yeah, you can hear some crazy aliasing. So that's better. And as I say, I think modern was the original one. So if we go down to the low end, it hasn't got that weird buzz. I'm sure this was the one that had a really strange buzz in it. So they fixed that up. It's just like a nice clean sine, that, isn't it? So Prophet VS is still, you know, all aliasy or whatever that is. And the VS is much cleaned up, but that's modern bright. It's not making much of a difference there because it is a sine really low. But go to vintage. And that's are they like 4-bit files or something like that? Is it like 6-bit or something? Crackers that, innit? So it's not doing what the VS is doing, but it's doing its own thing. I quite like it though. I think that's good. It's not, as I keep on saying, it's not the Prophet, but it's you can hear that. It's almost like a little tone over the top of them all, isn't it? Back down to 96 again. Let's just hear what they sound like on the Prophet. So that was 96 up to about 101. So that's all right, you know. I don't know why I've sounded sort of shocked about it, but it's a decent little upgrade, this. You're not getting any of those nasty things. It's not turned it into the old synth, but it's got rid of all those weird artifacts that didn't sound very musical to me. Try another wave. Let's try that just doing. Okay, let's go to another one. Not going to go through all the waves here. Playing the wrong synth. That's nice, isn't it? 116. That's beautiful in a lovely lo-fi way. So let's take that to 116. Yeah, so it's not emulating it, it's just taking it to the extremes, isn't it? That lo-fi. So it doesn't have that musicality in there, but let's just try the other modes on this. So this is vintage, modern, and modern bright. As it's bright, let's play it higher. Go back to modern again. And then back to vintage. Playing the wrong synth. So go back to modern again. Modern bright. And then vintage. So that's what the new oscillator modes sound like. So there you have it. It's a decent little vector-based synth with waveforms, let's say, that are based on the original Prophet VS, but it's not identical. It's not a Prophet VS replacement. Whether that's important to anyone, I don't know. More than likely not. For £90, you're getting a decent little synth, aren't you? So I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please think about subscribing, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon. If you want the Prophet VS waveforms from my original, I've got them over on my starskycar.com website. I've got them up here in all sorts of formats for different synths and soft synths, but I do have this video. I'll put a link in the description where I show how you can make it for any format using Audacity. But if enough people ask me for a certain one, I'll see what I can do to make it. But don't ask me for the Blofeld again, because there's a bit of software you've got to use to do it, and I just can't wrap my head around it whatsoever. Anyway, thanks very much for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time. Remember back in the day, back in the 80s, when Top of the Pops was king on a Thursday. At 7:30 we'd get together, same as ever, and watch the telly as always. Then on Friday came the Tube with Paula looking really fit. This was before the D50 and the DX7 thought they were it, and all the bands played the Prophet. It was a dream synth for the likes of me, but I knew it could never be. The soul preserved for the mega rich and pop stars, like holidays and exotic cars. Like something from Dynasty, it was out of reach and would always be.
I can't believe the synthesizer of it, it's massive. It's a Prophet, but now I've got one in my pocket. I can't believe the synthesizer of it, it's massive. It's a Prophet, but now I've got one in my pocket.
First time I heard that sound was when my dad's mate brought one round. We could hardly get it up the stairs in our 2 up, 2 down. And I remember our neighbours complaining he was playing it far too loud. Everything about it was supersized and full fat. The looks, the size, the sounds, and that price tag. My God, it really made an impression, and I've finally got something like it in my possession.
I can't believe the synthesizer of it, it's massive.